My fellow Rhode Islanders, it is a great honor to address you today. I'm humbled by the challenges before us, mindful of the many Rhode Islanders struggling with some of the toughest economic conditions we've ever faced, and deeply grateful for the trust that you've put in me. Let me begin by expressing our shared heartfelt appreciation to Governor Chafee for 25 years of dedicated public service to our state. Thank you, Governor Chafee. Let us also acknowledge the brave men and women serving in uniform, our troops, first responders, and correctional officers. Thank you for your service. And let me thank my wonderful family for supporting me at every single step along the way. I love you. The challenges that any governor inherits define the possibilities before them, and how we solve intractable problems is limited only by our creativity and our courage to tackle the most difficult challenges. Over the past 30 years, we've watched the foundation of our economy, our manufacturing base, erode. Our manufacturing sector used to provide good, stable, middle-class jobs, and as it's withered, nothing's taken its place. In just the last year, we've had the highest unemployment rate in the country for 9 straight months. We've been 49th among states where companies want to do business, and dead last for helping entrepreneurs. At the same time, our government has become larger but less effective. We face unsustainable budget deficits, and yet our roads, bridges, and school buildings are crumbling. As a result, workers are insecure, families are vulnerable, and too many cities are teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, and far too many young people are leaving our state to seek opportunity elsewhere. But just as troubling is a growing belief held by too many Rhode Islanders that our problems are just too big to solve, that there's nothing we can do, and that our leaders don't care, don't get it, or are rendered ineffective by a broken system which caters to the few, the connected. We've witnessed a growing acceptance that this is Rhode Island, it's just the way things are. So we've lowered our expectations, deferred our dreams, and let corruption take root. Today we begin to change that attitude. It's time to stop our decline and to ignite a Rhode Island comeback. It's not something that's going to happen on its own, or we can wait for somebody else to do. Every person within the sound of my voice and far beyond has a role to play in this comeback. Most important, we have to believe. We have to believe it's possible to have a comeback that our families deserve, and we have to commit ourselves to a new way of doing things. Now, at times, these changes are going to be uncomfortable. So often, we've resisted new ideas because people say, we've never done it that way before. But doing it the way we've always done it has landed us here. We need new politics and new ideas. Too many interest groups have crowded into this building for too long, putting their short-term self-interest before the long-term interests of all Rhode Islanders. Today, I ask Rhode Island to begin to think differently. I want you to ask yourself, each of you, what role can I play in the comeback of Rhode Island? How can we, as elected leaders, represent the concerns of all the diverse people of Rhode Island? How can business leaders develop new strategies to meet payroll and expand jobs right here in Rhode Island? How can our educators create cutting-edge laboratories of learning where we teach the next generation of innovators and leaders? Now, we're going to have to give up a little of our own narrow self-interest and give something back to our community. But that's how America works, and that's how we're going to get Rhode Island back to work. We need that eternal optimism shown by our founders, who believe in divine intervention, good fortune, and yes, providence. The idea that through God's grace, all things are possible. Because they are. The truth is, our only path out of this mess is to create middle-class, family-supporting jobs. And so we have to foster an environment where businesses want to add jobs, and also where we support our workers. If we do that, if we rebuild this economy, everything is possible. And if we don't, nothing else is going to matter. Let's create a place where people know you can make it in Rhode Island. Whether it's the young man preparing to graduate from high school, or a new mom who sees nothing but promise for her children, or the little girl who knows she can be anything she wants to be if she works hard enough. I want Rhode Island to be a place of boundless opportunity for everyone. And heck, maybe that little girl even become Governor of Rhode Island. Middle-class jobs are how we keep young people in Rhode Island. It's how we move people off public assistance. It's how we rejuvenate neighborhoods and secure the resources to invest in education and infrastructure and save for a rainy day. But more important than all of that, a steady job is the lifeblood of a healthy and thriving family. I learned that growing up, watching my father who worked for 3 decades at the Boulder Wash Factory. As a kid, I saw there was a job for everybody in his carpool. But I also remember him struggling to start over again when the company moved all the jobs overseas. Too many Rhode Islanders today face that uncertainty. Every decision we make must pass the test of whether or not it will create opportunity for Rhode Island families. In everything we do, we have to ask ourselves, how will this create good middle-class jobs? And then have the courage to act accordingly. To spark Rhode Island's comeback, we've got to do 3 things. First, we have to build the skills our students and workers need to compete in the 21st century. Second, we have to attract entrepreneurs and investment in industries of our strength to stimulate our economy and create jobs. And third, we have to innovate in everything we do, including in our state government, to enhance accountability and deliver value to taxpayers. We all know the economy is changing rapidly. The question is, are we preparing Rhode Islanders to be winners in this new environment? Education is a ladder of opportunity, so we need to modernize our school buildings, support our dedicated teachers, and make college accessible for more families. We need to ensure effective training opportunities for workers of all ages that align with the jobs that are in demand. To create stable jobs, we also have to cultivate conditions that will make businesses want to be here and want to add jobs here. Before adding jobs, businesses want to know there'll be a steady supply of well-trained workers and a 21st century infrastructure. They look for clear and streamlined regulations and a predictable tax structure. And perhaps most important, a level playing field where everyone can get ahead based on what you know, not who you know. We need a growth strategy, focused on our strengths in the marine science, healthcare, tourism, and food industries, which we implement every single day. And we have to revive our manufacturing sector, because if we make things in Rhode Island, people can make it in Rhode Island. We also have to innovate in everything we do, including the way government works in Rhode Island. Let's operate a government that's customer-friendly and creatively finds ways to help families succeed. It's time to redesign government, modernize our hiring practices, and instill accountability for results. Let's improve Medicaid by cracking down on fraud, delivering better care, and improving efficiency. Let's provide more digital services to citizens and facilitate online permitting for businesses. And let's help our cities and towns share services to reduce operating costs. Instead of simply throwing money at problems, we have to be outcome-oriented and insist on citizens getting their money's worth for their tax dollars. And we have to do all of this with urgency, because our budget deficit is severe this year, and there's even darker clouds on the horizon. We can't continue what we've been doing, just annually scraping together enough cuts and revenues to make it through the next year. Let's commit ourselves to eliminating our structural deficit over the next several years to put our state on a sound footing, and to making the tough choices so that at the same time we'll be able to invest in job-creating opportunities. My fellow Rhode Islanders, today we face a choice. We can continue on our current path. We can avoid difficult decisions because we're afraid of special interests or political ramifications, or of simply changing the way we've always done it. And if we stay on that course, our kids are going to be left behind, more cities and towns will go bankrupt, and other states will continue to pass us by. But there's another choice. There's a better path. I want everyone to have opportunity to make it in Rhode Island. So today, I ask you to join me and let's reach for something better for Rhode Island. Now listen, the job's not going to be done in 2 or 5 or 10 years, and the problems we face weren't created overnight, and we're not going to solve them overnight. And at each step of our journey, this journey that we're on together, we're going to measure our work in lives changed, in opportunities created, and in families saved. This is my pledge to you. I'll wake up every single morning focused on expanding opportunity for families in Rhode Island. And no matter how long it takes or how many obstacles are thrown in our way, we're never going to give up. Now, I don't have all the answers. Just ask my kids, they'll tell you that. But I will go anywhere, and I'll work with anyone who wants to do what's right for Rhode Island. And I'm especially committed to collaborating with Speaker Mattiello and Senate President Piper Weed, who I thank for their dedicated service and who I know share my focus on getting Rhode Islanders back to work. Listen, the challenges before us are real. I get that. I know that. But hear this, Rhode Island. Together, we will meet those challenges. As I prepared for today, I spoke to a friend of mine, who's someone many of you know and many of you are praying for, Sister Ann Key. Sister Ann's work has been teaching nonviolence. And like most things in life, it's a work in progress. But she never loses faith, and neither can we. At a time when all you have to do is hear the word Ferguson, you realize the challenge of our time is to simply get along a little better and respect one another. To be a better example for our children. To teach them that solving a problem shouldn't mean caving in to the loudest voices. It often means listening to the quietest voices. I would ask that if you remember one thing from today, it's that we're all in this together. Governor Mario Cuomo, who sadly passed away last week, reminded us that we must be the family of America, recognizing that at the heart of the matter, we're bound to one another. Our collective future is tied to rebuilding Rhode Island's economy in a way that expands opportunity for all families without leaving anyone behind. I believe that's why we're all here today. We're tying our fates together, and with God's grace and with God's guidance, we will find a way. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Rhode Island.